Hello, this is Dr. Hanaa Assil, and this is Combined Science or Physics. This is the first lesson. It's on measurements, and we're going to talk about the apparatus and the units for each measurement. For example, to measure the length of something like a piece of cotton here, or a length of cotton, we can use a ruler, and that means that we look at the final length and the initial length, and the difference between them is the length of the cotton. Of course, for something like something that's longer than that, I can use a tape measure, or depending on how long the object is. Of course, the units here are in centimeters. If it is something longer, the units will be in meters. For example, if we're trying to measure the thickness of a coin. Now, the thickness of the coin is very small, and any measurement will not be that accurate. So what we do is we measure the thickness of 20 coins and then divide by 20. So reading up from this ruler, the thickness of the 20 coins is 7.4 centimeters. Then I can divide by 20 to get the thickness of each coin. Now, to measure mass, we use a balance, digital balance or sensitive balance. And of course, the unit is in grams or in kilogram, depending on how heavy the object is. Time is measured using a stopwatch or a stop clock. Of course, sometimes we use the digital stopwatch, but also we have this kind of watch that is usually used in experiments. So they will tell you which one is minutes and which one is seconds, and you can read off the time. For example, this one shows a time of 1 minute and 26 seconds, but usually he asks you to give him the time in seconds. So we have to calculate the total number of seconds from this clock. Okay, temperature, we use a thermometer, and of course temperature is measured in degrees Celsius or in degrees centigrade. Volume is measured using a measuring cylinder, and you know that the measuring cylinder will give you the volume in centimeter cubed. Now, when looking at the volume, or when reading the volume, you should realize that the eye should be level with the bottom of the meniscus. Do you understand the meaning of meniscus? Meniscus means the top of the liquid is usually curved, and what we read is the bottom of that curve. So we read the bottom of the meniscus. Force, using a force meter or a spring balance, and force is measured in newtons. Energy, we use a calorimeter. A calorimeter is basically a polystyrene cup or a plastic cup with a cover or a lid. This is important to prevent loss of heat to the environment. And what we do is we measure the temperature at the beginning of the reaction and measure it at the end of the reaction. And we use that to calculate energy. Energy, of course, is in either joules or in kilojoules. Pressure is measured using a manometer, and we measure pressure in Pascal or in atmospheres. Volume of solids, if we want to get the volume of a solid, that depends on the shape of the solid. So if it's a cube or a cuboid, then the volume is length times width times height. For a cylinder, the volume is pi r squared h. You know that pi is 3.14. R is the radius, or half the diameter, and h is the height. Now, to determine the volume of an irregular object, and we need to do that, for example, when we want to measure its density, to get the volume, we have a certain volume of water in a measuring cylinder, and then when I put the solid in, the volume increases, or the level of the water rises. And the difference in the volumes of the water before and after the solid, that gives you the volume of the irregular object. Okay, thank you for listening. This was a simple, straightforward lesson. Please follow in the other videos. Thank you.